I recently tried a game that I normally wouldn't play. It was called Brighter Shores. It's sort of like Runescape, right? I think it's made by some of the same people, and it seems nice. There's some decent stuff going on there. But when I started playing it, I couldn't help but feel like I was getting the impression that I was having a fun time while not actually having a good time. There was nothing about the game in particular that moved me forward or excited me or got me really invested and curious or gave me some interesting emotional experience. The whole experience that I was having was the impression that I was having a good experience. And maybe this is just how the game landed for me in particular. This game could be amazing for other people. It definitely has some compelling stuff in it, but somehow the way that it lands for me is just, I feel like I should be enjoying this, and this part is kind of enjoyable. I guess I'll keep playing. Might as well grind this skill. Let's keep grinding that skill. Let's just keep moving forward and getting better and better at this skill that doesn't really serve any particular purpose at this point. Granted, the game is in early access right now. It's just, it was a confusing experience, and it got me thinking about that sensation, because I've had that sensation in games that I enjoy. I've had that sensation in games that I don't particularly like. And I just want to tunnel in on this feeling of sort of fun. It should be fun, but I'm kind of enjoying myself. I get the impression that I ought to be enjoying myself. I guess I'll keep playing. I feel obligated to keep going. It'll get fun at some point, right? So I want to tunnel into that a little bit today. First, let's talk about Brighter Shores, because that's where this whole experience started for me this past week. I jumped into it knowing that it was kind of like RuneScape, which is a game that failed to stick for me in the past, but a game that I've always been confused about. I always thought RuneScape would stick for me. There are skills that you can grind, you can see the number go up. It's great, wonderful, cool. You get more expensive resources, you sell them. So it's a big grind fest, and I like a grind fest, to be honest. So I was like, okay, I'll try Brighter Shores. It's a new game, so I won't have as much like depth of stuff that I've missed out on and like systems to learn that I don't understand and so on and so on. So let's just jump in on this and see how it is. And initially I went, ooh, cool. Skills to develop. Here we go. Level up, bright colors, so on and so on, right? Oh, I can unlock new things. Oh, I can go fish for new fish. I can go gather new plants. I can go do this, that, and the other. But it quickly, I lost interest in it very quickly, because something about the arc of the level progression didn't land for me. First off, it started getting exceedingly like difficult for no particular reason very quickly. And then also it just didn't feel like there was a goal anywhere. And yet I still wanted to keep going. I wanted to just see that number go up. I was like, oh, there's a design in this game where I can just set my character to do this stuff idly, check in every like 8 hours, log back in, collect the rewards, run back, start up the new idle activity, right? I can just do that every day, and then eventually I'll have a higher level character on this particular trait, and then I'll go do this other thing, and so on and so on and so on. But it just felt like a pointless grind, right? But I still wanted to do it because there's this number and it's going up. And I was like, am I actually having fun with this? I'm not. I'm feeling a little compelled to get this skill higher, but it's just my character getting the skill higher. I'm not learning anything. At this point, I'm literally moving my character across the map back and forth a couple times so that it can go grind. And then I just sell the stuff, come back, do it again. It's just a weird chore with no like purpose. So I stopped. Having said that, that can still be enjoyable gameplay, and I can see why people would enjoy that. I tend to like games where I, as the player, am developing some kind of a skill within the gameplay loop, I guess you would say. Like if every single thing that is happening to the character in the game, but I'm not developing any kind of skill. There's no meta skill for me to control. There's no like weird thing that I'm doing that's interesting. And it's all just the character is getting better at this thing, the character is getting better at that. Then it's not that interesting to me. Now, there's an argument that there's some kind of efficiency stuff going on with this game, and there's like some level of inventory management or resource management or planning, but it did not compel me, which is funny because there are RPGs that are largely about the character's skill, right? There are RPGs that are almost entirely did your character level up? Is your character stronger? And your personal skill has nothing to do with it. When you're playing Skyrim, your personal skill is so not a major part of the equation. And yet, that's more fun to me. That's not giving me the illusion of fun. That's giving me some degree of fun because I guess I'm engaged in combat. I'm making some choices. I'm dodging. If I'm being a total doofus, my character is going to die, right? In a game like Brighter Shores, if I'm being a total doofus, I don't know. It kind of seems like I'm fine. Like the stupidest decision you can make in that game is to pick the wrong fight. But once the fight is going, you kind of either just take the fight or retreat from the fight. Like you don't make that many tactical decisions, at least not on the early levels, at least not so far. And there wasn't enough of a hook early on for me to really get roped into that. But back to the larger point at hand, there are games that are mostly about your character's development that I find compelling because they have just enough, and I mean just enough, player decision making and player puzzling things out and skill development involved for me to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something. This is compelling. I'm engaged. It's not just the character doing something. And yet idle games are fun because there's some kind of efficiency, and then I just see number go up, and that's great. But this strange spot of basically an idle game, but you have to be active every like 5 to 10 seconds. I feel like that's what's going on with Brighter Shores. It is an idle game that you have to engage with just frequently enough, but you're doing the same engagement all the time. Maybe at really high levels it'll be different. Maybe once the game advances a lot more, it'll be different. There's a lot of things that can change this down the road. But for me, it just felt like it wasn't like a game. And I don't know why it lands like that for me. There aren't that many games that land this way for me, but it does not feel like a video game to me. And that's so bizarre because it clearly is, but something about it does not click in my brain. It doesn't hit the right things. I play it and I just go, okay, whatever. Why am I playing this chore simulator? Meanwhile, I go play freaking Supermarket Simulator and I'm like, this is a video game of all video games. This is absolutely a video game. Just because I'm running around during it, I guess. Like it's also just a chore loop, but I'm moving around and doing things, and somehow that is more compelling, even though it is literally a job simulator about a supermarket. The setting is much less interesting. There's much less variety going on in terms of like a fantasy world and different zones and equipment and gearing up and all of this, and yet that feels like a video game, and somehow Brighter Shores does not feel very gamified to me. I feel manipulated when I play it, and I don't understand that because this is a very popular type of game. Like RuneScape is extremely popular and has been for a long time, but I remember as a kid trying RuneScape and going, what is the point of this? I don't understand this. It is one of the only genres of game or like types of games that genuinely confuse me. I look at it and I go, I think I understand what the fundamental principle is here. Like, I think I get it. I think its number goes up. I think it's basically the same as an idle game, but why doesn't it click? And I feel oddly compelled to play them when I play them, right? Like I opened up Brighter Shores and I was like, oh, I need to keep grinding my fishing. Oh, I might as well keep grinding my fishing. Oh, let's keep grinding my fishing. And then I was like, why would I do this? This is this is a chunk of time in my life that I could be using doing something else. I could be working on pixel art with no distraction. I could be working on this other thing. I could be focused on this. I could go to the gym. I could do this, that, the other. And it's like, oh, well, you might as well put it on idle in the background, right? So then you're being extra efficient. But then it's just sitting in my head. There's just this voice tucked deep, deep in the back of my head that's like, oh, make sure to check your idle fishing later. And it's a distraction. And I don't like it. And I don't know why it's such a non game to me. It's so not fun. And I don't want to I don't want this to be like, don't enjoy these games. Enjoy the game. What I'm expressing here is not that these are bad games, it's that I cannot yet understand them. And that is very interesting to me because I've been playing games for a very long time. And I should be one of these people that is like deep into RuneScape or something, right? But I completely missed the boat on these and they have almost no appeal to me. And that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating to me. One of the most fascinating things about this genre is I think it's going to help me define my own game design a little bit because I can look at what I like about it and what I think I would like about it, and I can look at what I don't like about it and I can go, okay, why is that not working for me? Why is that part that I think should work for me not working in this context? Because there are things in Brighter Shores and in RuneScape that I think absolutely should work for me, right? Number goes up. I love it. Give me more. I want fishing skill. Oh my God, it's the greatest. I want that desperately, right? I want to just have a fishing skill that I grind and I get better at, and then there's new fish and I sell them and it's great. That's a huge thing that I want in a game. Does not work for me at all in this, and yet it works perfectly for me in World of Warcraft. The fishing minigame in World of Warcraft is legendary to me. It's ideal. But the fishing minigame in Brighter Shores, I fell off of it very quickly. I was like, oh, God, this. And then I was done with it. And I think one of the key differences between those two is the level of interactivity. The fishing game in Brighter Shores is click on the fish, click to catch the fish, and then your guy goes over. There's a very brief timer, and then it catches the fish. And then you go to the next. It's spear fishing. Fine, fair enough. And then when you get to the pole fishing, it's just an idle task. It automatically catches a fish on a timer after a certain amount of time. Now, this may seem like the least important, most minuscule difference ever, but in World of Warcraft, you go to fish something, you wait, you watch the bobber, it bobs, you click, then you've caught the fish. The span of time, or excuse me, the amount of buffer there is around you clicking on that bobber is significant. You don't need cat-like reflexes to click on this bobber and catch the fish. You just click on the bobber, you're going to catch the fish. It's fine. You got a good chunk of time to click on it too. But that is fun for me. And having a timer that automatically catches a fish is not fun for me. It is not fun at all. And this is how I would describe the like fundamental difference in design between something like this, like Brighter Shores, and a game that I enjoy. In Brighter Shores, there are so many things that are just automatic, which is the design of this genre, I guess, of this and RuneScape. I don't even know what I mean when I say this genre, but this strange little isolated type of game that RuneScape is. I mean, yeah, it's an MMO, but it's a weird one. It's semi-idle grind fest, second screen grind fest. It's not that engaging during the activities is the point. And I like something that has some level of engagement. Even World of Warcraft has more engagement than this, right? You're going through your abilities. Like, you might be killing the same enemy over and over and over and using the exact same rotation, and even at the beginning of the game, you might just have 3 attacks that you're using or 2 skills that you're using or whatever, but there's some level of decision-making and efficiency. The combat that I love the most in an RPG, which is Legend of the Dragoon, is very action-based. Yes, it's a turn-based combat system, but when you are attacking, you are inputting things to make sure your combo goes off smoothly. It's a skill that you as a player are developing that is specific to that game, of course, but it is still a skill that you are developing. You have to pay attention. In Brighter Shores, there is no paying attention, really. The only thing you have to pay attention to is my health going down faster than theirs? If so, either retreat or heal. Maybe later in the game this changes. Maybe there are potions and so on, but for the first, 16 hours of gameplay that I did, this did not really change, and most of the game is going to be picking up things off of gathering spots or fishing or so on, crafting potions and cooking recipes and so on. This is all stuff that I want to love. I want to love it so much. This is it should be my ideal game. That's why I get so frustrated about this, because I love these crafting things. I love all of these elements of it, but it just feels like I'm waiting for no reason. And if there's going to be wait time, I want to be engaged, or I want to not have to engage at all. I don't want to be in this middle ground where it's wait 5 seconds, click again, wait 5 seconds, click again, wait 5 seconds, click again. That is miserable to me. I think design-wise, I think I just fundamentally disagree with that. I think it's just not my kind of game design. That's not to say that it's bad. I think it's great. I think the success of it is obvious. I think it's pulling something off. But for me, I don't like making things like that because I don't like playing things like that. That's what I think, at least. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of these days I'll play something and it'll click for me, or maybe I'll make something and I'll go, oh, okay, this makes sense. But it just, it seems so frustrating. I'm not able to get into the loop of playing the game. I'm not able to really lock in and go, now I'm having a good time. Now I'm engaged in this activity. Now I'm really playing this game. It feels like it's a background productivity simulator that makes everything else you're doing less productive. It seems like it's just something you put on the side that goes, oh, weren't you productive today? You got 3 level ups in fishing because you let this program run on the side. Man, I hate to be such a hater on this, because I don't actually hate it. It's going to come across like I'm a huge hater. It's going to come across like I really, really despise it. But what I'm trying to do is express my confusion and express the extremely unappealing nature of this to me specifically, so that you can understand how different people's tastes can be. Because you might be listening to this and you might be going, I freaking love this game. This game is so good. I love everything about this. It feels so good. It's so productive. It's so nice. I get to see the number go up, so on and so on. But for me, I look at this game and I go, what a nightmare. I can't stand it. Sorry, I'm getting really heavy-handed with it, but I can't. I try to play it and I go, why are you wasting my time? Why are you doing this to me? Why does this, where does this lead? What happens later? This is so, it's so, okay, I guess. And it would be fine if it was completely idle. I'm sorry, I just tapped the mic with my hand. Hopefully it's not too loud. It'd be fine if it was completely idle. I would like it a lot more, I think, if it was less active. But it has somehow hit the perfect balance of level of interaction, where it is not so far into inactive that I can enjoy it, and it's not so far into active that I can enjoy it. It's just there where every bit of my brain is like, just give me more to interact with. Oh my God. Right? It's like I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're pausing for 30 seconds between every response, and I'm not allowed to say anything during those 30 seconds. It's I'm like, hey, how are you doing? and they just wait for half a minute, and then they go, I'm good. How are you? And then I have to wait for half a minute, and I go, good, thanks. What did you do today? And again, it's like the video game version of that. And it's sorry, I'm getting so overinvested in this rant. It's so frustrating to me. Cuz it's like at the same time there's this little piece of me that goes, why not just play it? Why not just have it run the fishing thing in the background, and then your fishing skill's gonna go from 24 to 25, and then you've accomplished something because you had it running, and you might as well have it running because what else are you doing? It's just in the background. You're just being efficient in the background. It's fine. Put it on. It's good. No, because it's not good. Then it's sitting in my head going, oh, I wonder what skill I'm gonna get to. And I know that is like the most annoying, mundane little nitpick ever of like, this sitting in the back of my head is inefficient. But it's not that. It's like it's annoying me. It's just in there. It's just back there going, what's your fishing skill going to get up to? And then I go and I log in and I click on the fishing skill. And it's like, oh, you leveled up fishing. I'm like, I left it for 8 hours and it got 1 level up in fishing. It went from 23 to 24. What is what? Wow, my God. Why? And then I had to just not start it back up again. I had to just go, okay, we're just not going back to fish again. We're not starting it back up because if I start it back up, I can't even uninstall the freaking game because I have this ongoing loop in my head of like, oh, we've got to check. We got to check how far it got, even though I know how far it's going to go, right? This is what I mean when I say this game makes me feel manipulated. It makes me feel like we have so many ongoing open loops that you have to keep playing the game because your character's fishing. What's the end of the fishing? How high did their fishing go? Did you use up all of your bait? And then, oh well, you just sold the fish you caught. You might as well go buy more bait and you're going offline anyway. You might as well just set your guy to idle on this thing. But if I set my guy to idle on the thing, then I have to come back to the game and see what the result of the idling is. So at some point, I have to make the conscious decision not to uninstall the game, not to stop playing the game. No, I have to make the conscious decision to not start an idle activity so that I can uninstall the game. I know that sounds deranged, but it's how it works for me. If I start the idle activity back up, well, then I can't uninstall the game because there's an idle activity going on in the background, and how I'll never know how that resolves. How inefficient of me, how bizarre of me to start an activity and not check in on how it resolves. I can't stand it. I feel like it's designed to stay in your head at all times, and I don't like that. That is, okay, here's a fundamental design lesson, a very fundamental design lesson that I'm getting. And this is not a applies to everybody design lesson. This is a personal philosophical thing. I don't want to make unlimited experiences. I hate the idea of making an unlimited experience. To me, it is absurd. I don't want to make something that somebody will be engaged in for the rest of their life. Now, there are some exceptions to some extent, right? I love the fact that there are people who are playing Celeste at such a high level and just going nuts with it and seeing how far they can push the envelope and seeing how many more cool things they can make. I love this community involvement stuff. That's beautiful. But I don't want to make a game where the core game is this like infinite, never-ending thing. I fundamentally dislike that. I feel like it is borderline an ethical issue. I really think that if I'm making a game, I want it to last a certain amount of time. I want you to play it. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to be done with it. And I want you to go enjoy other things in your life. Maybe that's going out on a hike with the family. Maybe that's going and playing another game. Maybe that's designing a game. But if the game doesn't finish, you can't leave it. And you can't move on with your life. Games need to just be an experience that you have that is enjoyable, that is something that occurred in your life, and then you get to walk away from it and you go, I'm really glad that happened. I don't want you to marry a game that I make. I don't want a game that I make to be with you for the rest of your life in the sense that you are coming back to it and playing it every day, every week, every whatever. That, to me, feels like the exact opposite of what I am trying to do with making a video game. And I don't know that I have pinned down exactly what I am trying to do with making a video game, but I know that that is pretty darn close to the exact opposite. I do not want to make a game that is an infinite experience. It seems wrong. And it seems like it is less fun. It seems like it compels people to just keep playing and feeling like they're having fun when they're not necessarily. And for a while, maybe it is fun. But I feel like once you get to like year 5 of playing some indefinite game, it's like, of all the time that you're spending in this game, how much of it is fun? How many moments are you having where you're going, yes, dude, this is amazing. I am enjoying this on a deep way. And sorry, I can't even speak. I'm getting so freaking invested in this. I'm enjoying this in a deep, satisfying way. This is an incredible game. I'm enjoying every moment. This is beautiful. This is cool. This is exciting. I just had this emotional experience, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just don't think that you're getting good value for your time in terms of the experience that you're having. And on a completely separate note, as an indie solo developer, like, what I'm going to make an MMO? No, obviously not. I don't even have the resources to make something that big. I don't like it. I don't know. That's I know I got fiery on that. I'm going to leave it in. There's a part of me that's like, get rid of all of that. Don't do this whole fiery rant. Don't go on and on about how you don't like this and get on this whole philosophical soapbox and all this. But maybe you agree. Maybe you disagree strongly, right? Maybe you're looking at this and you're going, no, an infinite game is a comfortable place that I can come back to after a hard day, and it's this world that I can immerse myself in and go, hell, let me spend 2 hours with my friends in this universe. And maybe we just play games for completely different reasons, because I play games to have a weird foreign experience. I play a game to go, oh, that's interesting. That has exposed me to this idea that I've not been exposed to before, or, oh, that was really engaging and challenging. And I play games to feel like I'm growing in some odd way or experiencing something that I never would have experienced otherwise. So, and I'm sure there's other reasons I play games too, but because of that, this kind of game is so not something that I would design. Having said that, it's probably an incredible game that I just don't understand. Here's a question for you. What sorts of games do you want to design? Do you want a game that people play for a very long period of time and come back to and it feels like home? Do you want it to be very social? Do you want it to be a brief experience that they extract a lot of value out of in a short amount of time? And what is that value? Is it some emotional journey? Is it some challenge, some personal skill development thing? Is it relating to an experience that they've probably never had? Are you just trying to share something about yourself? What kind of game do you want to make? And maybe pop into the Discord and share that with us. For me, I think I want to make games that are expressive of some emotion or experience or journey in a short period of time that makes people interested to relate to it. Something that makes you go, huh, that's cool. That's interesting. That's emotional. Or that's very challenging. I haven't quite put my finger on it yet, but I'm getting closer and closer to understanding what exactly I want to make. Every day, every week, a big part of this podcast is me pinning down details of my own design philosophy by looking at the games that I love. All right, thank you for joining. I know this episode I went in a little bit more on the negative side of things, which I generally try not to do, but it was just too fascinating to me. I was just way too interested in this. But thank you. I'll be streaming as usual. We're just keeping the same schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Twitch these days, we're playing Hollow Knight and Elden Ring. Sometimes I add an extra stream in there. We did it for the first time this past week. Maybe we'll do it more often. We got the Discord if you want to join in, chat with the community, and you can always email me at anxiousbuddhagames@gmail.com. That's everything for this week. Get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.